Hey guys, the Sports Entertainer here, back with some more wrestling news. Join us as the Sports Entertainer looks at all the breaking wrestling news and rumors you need to know, including this wasn't supposed to happen at Royal Rumble, Andrade comments on his WWE return, Paul Heyman says Roman Reigns is the GOAT, and much more. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss out on an episode. Mr. Kennedy open to WWE return? Now, Mr. Kennedy was definitely an underrated superstar in WWE who could have been a legit main event talent had WWE went all in on his push, but backstage politics sort of got in the way of Kennedy reaching his potential in WWE, and Mr. Kennedy would realize a lot more success in TNA wrestling. However, clearly there isn't much bad blood, so to speak, between Mr. Kennedy and WWE, at least on his end, because prior to the 2024 Royal Rumble, Mr. Kennedy revealed in an interview with Cheap Heat Productions that he would have considered returning in the men's Royal Rumble match had the opportunity presented itself, quote, "Yeah, definitely, I would consider it. We'll just leave it at that. With that being said, I am really excited to see the Rumble. It's my favorite match of the year. It always has been. Too bad WWE didn't bring out Mr. Kennedy for the Royal Rumble match. That definitely would have been a cool return because by all means there really weren't too many groundbreaking or shocking returns in the match this year, so Kennedy definitely would have been an unexpected surprise." Next up, unexpected WWE plans for LA Knight. Now, LA Knight may have come up short in the Fatal 4-Way Undisputed title match at the Royal Rumble, but at least he wasn't the superstar pinned in the match. That honor went to AJ Styles, and without question, many fans are praising LA Knight for his Royal Rumble performance, and that it was one of the best of Knight's career in WWE so far. Now, we all know that LA Knight isn't getting a world title anytime soon, but most seemed confident that WWE were going to be heading in the direction of a Logan Paul and LA Knight feud for WrestleMania 40, where Knight could be the superstar to dethrone Paul of the United States title, but clearly former WWE star Matt Morgan feels differently, and that WWE are going in a different direction for LA Knight come WrestleMania. With Morgan revealing his thoughts on Knight's future on a recent episode of the Gigantic Pop podcast, quote, "More importantly, tonight's finish, if you watch closely, was a direct result of LA Knight. That's why AJ ate the finish. So they set themselves up perfectly into what I predicted from day one, AJ Styles versus LA Knight at WrestleMania." Morgan's co-host Raj Giri would say this, quote, "I still think it could be Logan Paul and LA Knight," with Matt Morgan responding with, quote, "No, listen to me. He has surpassed the US Championship. Let us know if you guys are down for LA Knight feuding with Styles heading into WrestleMania 40 instead of the rumored United States title feud with Logan Paul. And do you guys feel Knight has surpassed the US Championship?" Next up, rest in peace Bray Wyatt, as we remember the late influential star whose last match in WWE was officially 1 year ago. Now, Bray Wyatt definitely helped in the fast rise of LA Knight in WWE, and the two wrestled each other in what ended up being Bray Wyatt's last WWE match on January 28, 2023, at the Royal Rumble in their Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, and as of yesterday, it's been 1 full year since the late Bray Wyatt worked his final televised match in WWE. This would sadly be the last time Bray wrestled in the company, with Wyatt passing away in August of last year after an extended hiatus from WWE. Rest in peace, Bray. You will never ever be forgotten. Next up, this wasn't supposed to happen at the Royal Rumble. Now, we've heard all the rumors that Braun Breaker was the WWE superstar who replaced Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble match, but it seems as though it actually could have been special guest commentator Pat McAfee after all, with Pat basically revealing that he had absolutely no idea he was going to be entering the men's Royal Rumble match, with McAfee having this to say about it in a WWE exclusive interview following the Royal Rumble, quote, "All of a sudden, what, 22, I'm in the Royal Rumble, nobody gave me a heads up about that, got my cowboy boots on, Michael Cole let me go in there, that was rude of him, I thought we were friends, then there was a thing in there, 7'3", okay? You're just looking up at a statue of a being, I see little Braun Breaker go like barking at me, I'm like, I'm not supposed to be in here, why would I be in here right now? I'm not prepared for this. Also, who would I be to take a main event at WrestleMania spot away from somebody? So I got my ass out of there. Now I went back in because I thought to myself, wait a minute, am I just gonna be a coward? I realized quickly, Yeah, I think tonight I am. I went right back to the booth, and it was great. It was a great show. Now, Pat's shocked reaction when his theme song came on makes total sense now, as he clearly had no idea that was going to happen. So honestly, kudos to Pat McAfee for making the best out of that apparent improv spot that he had no idea was going to happen. And while Braun Breaker may have taken Brock's role in the match, it's pretty evident that Pat McAfee likely took Brock's actual Royal Rumble entrance spot. Next up, Paul Heyman says Roman Reigns is the GOAT. Now, a lot of fans may be getting tired of Roman Reigns' title matches ending in the same predictable way every time, with the bloodline always interfering and helping Roman retain, the same scenario that played out at the Royal Rumble, but clearly Paul Heyman was in awe of Roman's latest title defense this weekend, and basically declared Roman Reigns the GOAT in a lengthy social media post detailing his glowing opinion of Roman and his title reign, quote, "There are many who witness the overwhelming burden of being the greatest champion of all time, being acknowledged all puns intended by your tribal chief Roman Reigns last night. We have no denial to offer. The responsibilities, the obligations, the need, let alone the ambitious desire to constantly level up, and the accountability not only to his own legacy but to his family's dynasty and to the history of WWE itself. This legendary, historic title reign is taken seriously by the head of the table. This is why Randy Orton did not dethrone Roman Reigns. This is why AJ Styles did not dethrone Roman Reigns. This is why LA Knight did not dethrone Roman Reigns. This is why none of these amazing top-of-the-top athletes' performers could not stop a title reign headed towards a tenure that has lasted a simply impossible 1,400 days, 4 years. And yet, with Roman Reigns, all things are possible, for the sheer magnitude of this once-ever #GOATS greatness has yet to be revealed." Let us know your thoughts on Heyman's sentiments regarding his tribal chief. Do you believe Reigns is the GOAT, or do you feel like Heyman may slightly be overlooking the fact that the bloodline have been integral in almost all of Roman's title defenses? Next up, Andrade comments on WWE Return. Now, Andrade was definitely the big return that occurred during the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match, a former AEW star that had been rumored to be on his way back to WWE, and by all means, now that Triple H is the head of creative and chief content officer of WWE, there's no doubt Andrade has a much better chance of succeeding in WWE on the main roster this time around, opposed to when Vince McMahon was still in charge of things, especially considering Andrade looks like $1 million and is in tremendous shape. Andrade would react to his return at the 2024 Royal Rumble in a backstage WWE interview, and clearly Andrade's very happy to be back in the company. Quote, "How do I feel? Happy. I'm happy to be here, to be back. I needed to leave to remember who I was. So now I am back, I know who I am, and remember, now nobody's stopping me. Okay?" Next up, you won't believe these original Brock Lesnar plans, and we mean it. Now, Brock Lesnar was originally planned to return at the 2024 Royal Rumble, but because of Lesnar being tied to the horrible Vince McMahon lawsuit filed by Janelle Grant, those plans were obviously changed, and it has just been revealed by Post Wrestling, and you're not gonna believe this. Brock Lesnar was apparently supposed to be working with Dominic Mysterio for the Elimination Chamber 2024 event next month. Here's what Post Wrestling reported on the matter in their article posted last night. Unbelievable stuff, man. Quote, "A source with knowledge of the upcoming creative plans informed Post Wrestling that Lesnar was set to work with Dominic at the Elimination Chamber event on February 24th in Perth, Western Australia. A second source confirmed this plan to us. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty wild to hear that WWE were apparently planning for Lesnar to feud with Dominic of all people for Elimination Chamber, but that actually makes sense considering Braun Breaker basically replaced Lesnar in the Rumble match. Dominic eliminated Braun, who would have originally been Brock Lesnar, but still, I honestly can't believe that was the original direction WWE were headed, man. Next up, Naomi comments on Royal Rumble return. Now, Andrade was the big return for the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match, and when it came to the Women's Royal Rumble, Naomi was definitely the big returning superstar, and she got a great crowd reaction for sure, and Naomi essentially broke her silence regarding her Royal Rumble return in a backstage WWE interview, and no doubt Naomi's super happy to be back in WWE, and we're happy for her. Quote, "Man, it was hard to hold back all the emotions. I couldn't, man. It felt really good after this little journey I've been on, to finally be back. And that's the scary part, you never know what that reaction or response is, so to feel that, man, and just after this ride I've been on, I feel like nothing can break me. I didn't win, but I hung in there. That Jade is something else though. I don't know what to do about her." Welcome home, Naomi, and hopefully WWE have something big planned for her to do heading into WrestleMania 40. Next up, CM Punk injured at Royal Rumble. Now we hope this is all just speculation, which it is right now as we have no confirmation if Punk's actually legit injured or not coming out of the Royal Rumble, but there was some concern that Punk may have legit injured his right arm during the Royal Rumble match, as CM Punk was favoring it after taking a Future Shock DDT from Drew McIntyre, and an article was posted by Cinema Blend detailing the possibility of CM Punk being injured, and here was the bit of info on why Punk could be injured. Quote, fairly deep into the Men's Royal Rumble match, CM Punk took a brutal Future Shock DDT from Drew McIntyre, presumably still pissed he wasn't on the Royal Rumble poster. Punk landed awkwardly and immediately began gripping his right arm on the ground. At first, it seemed like Punk was just overselling McIntyre's signature move, but the superstar remained grounded for several minutes, and could be seen in a sidebar discussion with referee Jessica Carr and other officials while the match continued. Punk eventually got back to his feet and wound up being the last man standing between Cody Rhodes and his rematch in the next WrestleMania main event. They grappled back and forth without Punk taking any big bumps, and Rhodes eventually pulled Punk over the top rope and emerged victorious. Now, as we head into Monday Night Raw and everything beyond, I'm wondering if CM Punk is going to be healthy enough to compete. Now again, as of right now, we have no word on whether or not Punk's injury was serious, if he's even injured to begin with, as he could have been selling for storyline purposes by favoring his right arm. However, one fan that was sitting in the front row, Chris Williams, took to Twitter or X to reply to the question as to whether Punk's injured with, quote, I was right behind him. He told him the ref he felt he separated it, but he still wrestled after. So I don't think he did. Now we pray to the wrestling gods that CM Punk isn't actually hurt coming out of the Rumble match, because that would be unbelievably sad news, so hopefully we get a clear update tonight on Raw. Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.